Welcome to Travel with Sean. I'm Sean, and today we are in Bologna, Italy, tracking down historic sites. The historic center of Bologna is called Piazza Maggiore, which means main square. It's surrounded by some of Bologna's most historic buildings: Basilica di San Petronio, the City Hall, and the Palace of King Enzo. The Basilica of St. Petronius has been described as the most imposing church in Bologna. Construction began in 1390, but first the city had to tear down 8 churches and towers to make room for what was planned to be a civic center. This massive church measures over 433 feet long, 216 feet wide, and 154 feet tall. The church was intended to be the largest church in the world, but Pope Pius IV stopped it so it would not overshadow St. Peter's Basilica. Now it's the 15th largest church in the world. The church was named in honor of St. Petronius, the patron saint of Bologna and Bishop of Bologna in the 5th century. The altarpiece above the main altar is called Triumph of St. Petronius, and it was completed around the late 15th century to the early 16th century. This part of the church was completed in 1469. These relief panels tell Bible stories and used to be mounted above the doors. We had the creation of Adam, on the left is creation of Eve. Then Eve is tempted by Satan. Then expulsion from the Garden of Eden. Adoration of the Magi. Jesus presented in the temple. The sacrifice of Isaac. The drunkenness of Noah. Noah's Ark. Then we have 2 different images of Cain and Abel. This panel is of Joseph, Mary, and Jesus escaping into Egypt. The slaughter of the innocents at the hands of Roman soldiers. And lastly, the Nativity of Jesus. Another feature of this church is what's called Cassini's Meridian line, which is the 11th East Meridian line mapped out by Cassini, a prominent astronomer in the 17th century. Church officials had marble tiles made according to Cassini's instructions and placed them on the floor. This is known as the world's longest sundial because there is a small hole in the ceiling through which sunlight comes in, and at 12 noon it will shine on the line, starting with this circle at the winter solstice. I said that the Cassini line starts with winter solstice, December 20. So, at 12 noon on December 20, the sunlight from that little hole in the ceiling will shine down on this tile. Every day, the light will move further down the line. And every month has its own tile. Most of the months are found side by side, like here, January 20 and November 21. Just to the left of the pillar in front of us, you can see the hole in the ceiling I mentioned earlier that allows the light to enter in and shine on the floor below, marking the Cassini Meridian line. The Cassini line starts at the front of the church near the wall, beginning on the winter solstice. Then it ascends along here to this spot on the summer solstice before going all the way back. This tile says that the Cassini line was constructed in 1656 and was remade in a larger form in 1776. These tiles indicate the ascending and descending points of the line. The hole for the light to shine on the Cassini line is indicated with a sundial painted around it. You may notice several other small holes in the ceiling. I inquired about these and learned that they are there for air circulation. While building the church, the facade didn't get done because Pope Pius IV was afraid it would end up more beautiful than St. Peter's Basilica, so he diverted funds away from it. That was not the end of the church's financial problems. Later there was some attention and financing given to improving the interior of the church. In the late 19th century, someone started completing the facade with marble, but political turmoil got in the way and they could not finish. These are the three main entry doors from the front, each with their own theme. The door on the left that we're looking at now is the door of resurrection, or the resurrection door, with a carving or relief work celebrating the resurrection of Jesus. Then we move over to the middle door, which is the great door of the Nativity, celebrating the birth of Jesus. Then we move over to the far right, and we come to the Passion door, which commemorates the crucifixion and death of Jesus. Pope Gregory XIII, known for creating the modern calendar used worldwide, is honored with a statue overlooking Bologna's main square. Positioned prominently on the front of Palazzo Comunale, Bologna's city hall, the statue signifies his profound historical impact. Bologna's city hall is also known as Palazzo d'Accurcio because it was built in the 13th century to be the palace for the noble Accurcio family, but evolved over time to become the city hall and seat of the municipal government for Bologna. The Fountain of Neptune, named after the Roman god of the sea, is at the end of City Hall. Built in the early 1560s, it is sandwiched between two historically significant buildings in the corner of the main square. The Archiginnasio was built in the early 1560s to be the administrative building for the University of Bologna. It's now the city library. To the west of the fountain is the Palace of King Enzo, which was built in the mid-13th century to be an extension of another palace, but it was named after King Enzo of Sardinia, who was imprisoned here after being captured in battle shortly after the construction of this palace. Although the palace was closed for a private event, I was able to look in the doorway to get a glimpse of the interior of this palace. Le Due Torri, or the two towers, are named Asanelli and Garisenda. They are all that's left of the numerous towers that covered the city of Bologna in the Middle Ages. Torre degli Asanelli is the taller of the two, at about 318 feet in height. It was built between 1109 and 1119 by the Asanelli family, who were prominent merchants in the city. The Garisenda Tower is shorter, standing at about 157 feet. It was also built in the 12th century, but it leans due to its unstable foundations. To prevent it from falling over completely, it was shortened in the 14th century. These two iconic towers are now collectively a beloved symbol of Bologna. Porta Saragossa, or Saragossa Gate, built in 1296, was part of the third and last sets of walls around Bologna. It is located at the end of Via Saragossa, one of the main streets leading from the city center towards the hills south of Bologna. The gate was dramatically modified in the mid-19th century with the addition of two round towers to enhance its appearance. Porta Castiglione, built in the 13th century, was named after the nearest town in the direction most of its traffic came from. Torre Sotto San Vitale, named after the street Via San Vitale, was built in 1296 and was the city gate controlling the east. Although Bologna's city walls from the 10th through the 14th centuries were mostly torn down in the early 20th century for roads and other urban improvement projects, some still remain. Originally built in the 12th century, Porta Galliera was the northernmost city gate and part of the most complex system of Bologna's city walls. It was demolished in 1889 for urban redevelopment and rebuilt in 1907 as a symbolic link to Bologna's historical past. The Devil Maiden sculpture was placed here in 1999. Porta Galliera continues to be a notable landmark in the city. This is where they used to have the moat to help defend the city, and the bridge I'm standing on was a drawbridge at the time. Galliera Castle was built in the 12th century and played a significant role in the defense and administration of the region, serving as a stronghold for various noble families over the centuries. By the 18th and 19th centuries, the castle fell into disrepair, and its stones were often reused in other local construction projects. Today, the castle is in ruins, with remnants of a wall and some foundations. Few other architectural features are visible. The site serves as a reminder of Bologna's medieval history and the strategic importance of fortified structures in the region. Adjacent to the Galliera Castle ruins, Scala della Montagnola, known in English as Montagnola Staircase, is located near the central train station, providing a direct route for pedestrians to access Montagnola Park from the city center, offering scenic views of Bologna along the way. It was designed at the end of the 16th century and intended for promenades in the 17th century. It was rebuilt in its current form in 1805 and is decorated with reliefs and other structures influenced by Bologna's history. Piccolo Teatro del Baraccano, or Little Theatre of Baraccano in English, dates to 1500. Until the 1970s, it served as a place where Bologna's orphans were educated and prepared for marriage. After the 21st century renovations by the city of Bologna, it was reopened as a musical and dance performance venue in 2006. Eggplant pizza originated near Bologna and is a local favorite. A popular appetizer in Bologna is a plate of local meat and cheese slices, along with piadina, a traditional Italian flatbread that's native to Bologna. Don't forget some dipping sauces to enhance the flavors. Mortadella is an Italian sausage that's native to Bologna, and it was the inspiration for the American sausage called bologna. Parmesan cheese also originated here. If you want your meat sliced, you need only to ask. They slice meat paper thin. Thank you for watching. Thank you for traveling along with me. As always, I appreciate your support.
Until next time, ciao, arrivederci, bye-bye.